What's up everybody, my name is Cubits, and welcome to the spooky edition of Skyrim mod compilations, this time featuring Werewolf Mods. Ever since Skyrim came out, I've always been more of a werewolf person than a vampire person. Part of the reason might just be because I favor warrior classes, but of course, because of that, I've tried out tons of different werewolf mods in my day. This video is a collection of what I think are the best werewolf mods. Not only will they transform your experience playing as a werewolf, but they're also guaranteed to all work together. So if you want a whole new set of mods for a werewolf playthrough, or if you're just looking for one or two new features, this is the video for you. First off, we have the most enormous mod in this entire video. It's called MOONLIGHT Tales, Werewolf and Werebear Overhaul. Now, something that's a little bit funky about this mod is that there's actually two different versions. One of the versions is called Essentials, which is a little bit lighter of a mod. It's still the same basic premise. However, a lot of the bigger gameplay changes aren't implemented. But the nice thing about the Essentials is that it offers you way more skins to choose from. You can totally try Essentials if you don't want a bunch of changes and you mostly just want to customize the appearance of your werewolf. But for now, I'm going to focus on the main mod, the big one. MOONLIGHT Tales is a mod that overhauls the entire werewolf system. It changes a whole bunch of key aspects of being a werewolf. These changes are both visual and based in the gameplay. As I mentioned before, this mod allows you to customize the design of your werewolf. Firstly, it makes the quality of the skin textures much higher. And in addition, it gives you several different variations for the fur color of your werewolf. So if you're hoping to be a little bit more of an albino werewolf, or maybe a werewolf that resembles a husky, or maybe just a plain brown werewolf, either way, you have that option. I really appreciate this because I think that the vanilla werewolf model is pretty lackluster in its design. It kind of looks like a sad rat. These different skin choices definitely polish up the werewolf design. Beyond just skin choices, you actually have the opportunity to change the eyes of your werewolf. That means you can have a bunch of different colors. You can have red eyes, one blue eye, one green eye, brown eyes, even blind eyes. All of these options are totally available for you to choose from in the mod menu. Another extremely cool option about this feature is that you have the opportunity to allow them to glow. It's an effect that might not be as noticeable during the daytime, but while you're on the hunt at night, seeing the piercing red eyes of your werewolf as it chomps into a city guard really adds to the atmosphere of the experience. You also have the ability to change the model design of the werewolf as well. You can have them be bigger and more muscular, you can make the head look a little bit more like the werewolf from The Howling, and there's even some options to make it a little bit more female looking. Lastly, an extremely cool feature in this mod is that you're actually able to become a werebear. So one of the skin options is changing from being a werewolf into a werebear. No longer is that ability restricted only to NPCs. Moving away from the visual aspects, let's talk about some of the gameplay changes. The MCN menu allows you to change the cooldown time of your werewolf form. So if it means that you want to be able to transform constantly, or if you want it to be a little bit more rare, you're able to change that to your pleasing. Another really cool option that this mod adds are lunar transformations. Now, one of the things about being a werewolf is it's supposed to be a curse. It's supposed to be something that you can't control. So if you're looking to up your immersion, then you can go into the menu and turn on lunar transformations. That means that depending on the settings you choose, certain phases of the mood will trigger your werewolf form. This option isn't for everyone, but it's great for making the experience of being a werewolf a lot less predictable. Next up, we have the Ring of Hircine changes. Now the Ring of Hircine actually allows you to control your werewolf form instead of just being an extra once-a-day transformation. The options of this can be configurable, but if you have things like lunar transformations installed, then there's actually a real incentive to get the Ring of Hircine. Another really neat feature of this mod is the ability to spread lycanthropy. If you get into a fight with another NPC while in werewolf form, you have a chance of infecting them with the virus. Once infected, it'll take about 3 days for them to transform into a full-fledged werewolf. Not only that, but they can actually infect other NPCs as well. This definitely helps in making you feel like you have more impact on the world of Skyrim. However, keep in mind that essential and protected NPCs are immune. This is obviously because it would break the game. But your average village Joe isn't safe. But of course, neither are you. NPCs can catch the virus from other werewolves, and you can catch the virus from other werewolves as well. This mod also allows for more werewolf encounters on the roads, so even if you're not playing as a werewolf, there will be a lot more werewolf and werebear encounters. Although there are more werebeasts, there are also more hunters. Now, there are randomized encounters with the Vigilant of Stendarr and the Silver Hand. Not only that, but those two factions are now immune to the effects of Howl of Fear. You can alter the settings of how frequently you find these encounters, but on the whole, it definitely makes being a werebeast more difficult. Another thing to note is that you can also change followers into werewolves as well. The infection process is exactly the same as the other NPCs, but keep in mind that this doesn't work with protected NPCs either. And of course, curing the beast blood. Now, curing your lycanthropy is a lot more treacherous. You need to obtain a heart of the beast in question, and travel to the last remaining shrine of Hircine. Keep in mind this ritual isn't easy though. This mod also adds a bunch of other little changes. For instance, you can have wolves no longer be hostile towards you if you're a werewolf. You can also infect yourself with lycanthropy in the MCN menu, and you can cure yourself. Ultimately, it adds a huge variety of different options, while simultaneously overhauling the experience. In my opinion, Moonlit Tales is an absolute must-have for a werewolf playthrough. Moving on to the next mod, we have Predator Vision. This is a mod that adds two different features that you can use as a werewolf. First, there's night vision. If you spend your hunting time at night and you're using a darker E&B, you might find that it's really hard to see things while you're trying to eat. Now you have a hotkey that will allow you to illuminate the world just a little bit more. It's only natural that as a werewolf, you'd be able to see in the dark. The intensity of this effect can be altered in the menu, but overall I found it extremely useful. The second feature of this mod is Predator Vision. This gives you the ability to see enemies and animals and all NPCs that are alive with an almost heat-seeking vision. That means you can see them through buildings, through walls, and across valleys. The explanation for why you have this power can really be explained by anything, be it a supernatural heat vision, more of the ability of scent, really whatever you want to describe it as. Overall, it adds a nice little effect that varies up the gameplay a little bit and gives you a little bit of an edge as a supernatural being. Next up, we have one of my favorite mods, Heart of the Beast. This is a mod that includes both texture replacers and sound replacers. If you're already using Moonlit Tales, then there's no need to fiddle around with the texture replacers. That's because Moonlit Tales actually includes all of the textures from Heart of the Beast. That being said, the audio portion of this mod is where it really shines. If you thought that the vanilla werewolf sounds were a little bit lackluster, they were a little bit sad and pathetic, the combat sounds weren't very satisfying, then you'll absolutely love this mod. This mod offers 3 different versions of sound replacers. The first version is a lot more mild. It basically just improves the transformation sound to a howl and makes the werewolf howls a lot more realistic. Next up, we have the second option. The second intensity adds a little bit more punch to that howl. It adds a couple more snarls in there, and overall creates more intensity. The third option adds a slightly longer howl, but also extremely vicious noises. Pained snarls and howls. A bloodthirsty resting growl. And absolutely brutal combat and kill move sound effects. If you wanted to make werewolves sound better, or much more vicious, then I highly recommend this mod. Next up, we have a pretty little mod. It's called Mantle of the Silver Hand. What this mod does is it adds one little armor piece into the game. It's definitely a small thing, but the werewolf cloak that's included in the mod is extremely well made. The these werewolf cloaks have a chance to be worn by the Silver Hand. Ultimately, it really helps in diversifying the appearance of that faction, and it's also a very nice fashion choice if you're playing as a werewolf hunter yourself. Another small mod that I'd recommend is called Enhanced Camera. This gives you the opportunity to play as a werewolf in first person. The base of the mod just means that you can do anything you want in first person. You're no longer forced into your third person camera mode. Because of this feature, it applies also to being a werewolf. However, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it if you feel motion sick. After these two quick mods, we have another slightly bigger mod. This mod is called Werewolf Perks Expanded. It's a very simple mod that simply adds more perks to the perk tree of being a werewolf. This means that your werewolf has the opportunity to become more powerful and therefore more useful later into the game, and gives you more goals to work towards. The original werewolf tree was pretty limited, so if you're looking for an incentive to munch more guards, then you should definitely give this mod a try. All in all, this perk tree improves your howls, gives you extra attacks to damage your opponents, and offers some health buffs. Another teeny tiny mod that I want to mention is called Real Feeding. Very simply, all it does is that when your werewolf tears into a carcass, after it's done consuming it, it will leave a bloody skeleton as the remain. It's an extremely small feature, and that's all that it offers, but it really adds to the visual carnage left behind one of your werewolf assaults. Before I finish out this mod compilation video, I want to give an honorable mention to Werewolf Mastery. The reason why it's an honorable mention is because even though it's a really good mod, it hasn't been updated in quite a long time. And because of that, it's a little bit buggy, and it runs into several compatibility issues with the mods that I mentioned before, along with some others. That being said, it does offer some unique customizations, so I wanted to mention it for those of you that are willing to take the time to get it to work. That being said, most of the customization offered in Werewolf Mastery is either offered in Moonlit Tales or Werewolf Perks Expanded, meaning that it's a little bit contradictory. However, there are unique features in there. So that being said, I can't necessarily recommend it along with the mods that I mentioned in this video, but if you've never heard of it and you're looking to try something different, then it's worth a shot. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you download and enjoy any of these mods, please make sure to endorse them on the mod page. And if you want to see more mod compilations in your subscription box, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. And hey, if you found this useful, then a thumbs up is always appreciated. If you have other suggestions for mods that maybe I missed, or some that you prefer over others, then I, and definitely anyone looking for mods watching the video, would absolutely appreciate it if you shared it in a comment. If you want to watch another mod compilation, you can check out my video on mods that make Skyrim more populated. If you wanted more companions, more townspeople, more soldiers, more bandits, if you wanted Skyrim to just be a little bit less empty, then you should absolutely check out that video. Or you can check out a mod compilation that I did for Fallout 4, where I went through a whole bunch of different mods that help make Fallout 4 even more deadly than it was before. Thank you guys so much for watching again, and I wish you the happiest of Halloweens.